Our next speaker is a dynamic woman of God. She is the Chief Information Officer of Telling It Like It, T.I. is, and a living example of freeing others with her truth and her work. I'd like to introduce to some and welcome to others the Reverend Tammy Denise, PhD. She's the co-founder and president of Carrie's Touch, presenting on Project SOAR.
All right. Hey, y'all. I am Reverend Dr. Tammy Denise, and in about 12 days, I get to tell you that I am an 18-year breast cancer survivor. Woohoo! But that is not how it started, and that is not what it looked like when I entered that doctor's office almost 18 years ago. In fact, the doctor told me I was unlikely to live 5 years, offered me an opportunity at a clinical trial, and then told me that he didn't know how women who looked like me were responding to this trial. First mistake, because I got pissed. Oh, can I say that as a preacher? But I did. I got pissed because how do you bring me into your doctor's office, tell me that I've got this advanced disease, I'm not gonna live 5 years, and you say, oh, but I got a clinical trial for you. But don't worry about it. We don't know how people that look like you are responding. So as a result, I co-founded Carrie's Touch. Carrie's Touch is 16 years old. We're based out of Sacramento, California. And we are national. We serve women across the nation and around the globe. We have a peer nurse navigator project partnership in Ghana, West Africa, along other many things. Thank you to this dynamic group of people, the rock stars, all the doctors that have presented up here. I come in a slightly different approach to all of this, right? They keep saying Project SOAR, this different approach. Well, what is Project SOAR? Speaking our African American realities, because when I was first diagnosed, I wanted to understand why black women were dying at approximately 41% higher rates than white women. I'm like, why are black women dying more? And here's the sad thing about it. Today, 18 years later, I'm still asking that very same question because the numbers are exactly the same. So somebody, though doing good, there's a lot that needs to still be done because we've got to change those statistics. There's no reason for black women to continue to die at these disproportionately higher rates. And Carrie's Touch, great. I was often invited to speak at researchers' conferences. And I'm like, why do y'all want me? I come in here with all my African garb and all my blackness, and the rooms didn't look like this. You didn't have as many beautiful sprinkles of color in the room. It was oftentimes white males, and they were stoic. They weren't smiling and clapping and doing all the things that you anomalies are doing. And they wanted me to come and speak. Well, they wanted to understand kind of what was going on inside my mind, but they didn't want to know about me, the person. And so Project SOAR humanizes the data. We bring a pulse to all of these numbers that you've heard and more numbers that you will continue to hear throughout the day. We bring little babies and their mamas who come to us clinging for help and for hope when they're diagnosed with the disease, right? We look at the woman from mind, body, and spirit. We look at her as a human being. And Dr. Lola, if you didn't get out of all my talking points, I was like, how's she gonna bring up the CDC? How's she gonna say that we've still been doing? Thank you. You did all the things. You said all the things that I have been saying as a patient and a patient advocate for the past 18 years. I'm trying to understand how a simple human being is not humanized. Maya Angelou says, I am a human being, therefore all things human are available to me. And I add an addendum, except surviving breast cancer. So then Project SOAR came. The California Breast Cancer Research Foundation funded Project SOAR initially to bring community advocates and organizations to partner with academic institutions to create research. And so I was who I am. I was relentless. I said, I got to have a black woman as my researcher because I don't feel like understanding who I am as a black woman the entire time we're going through the research. I need her to know about me. I need her to know why these other support groups didn't work for me, because I had to find my own people that weren't talking about things that meant anything to me as a black mother. I was a single mother. I worked full time. I tried to have a dating life, and I did other extracurricular activities, right? And the people in the support groups were talking about life. Why? Because it was available to them, and people didn't know the answers to how people like me were going to respond to this result. So I needed a black woman. And things didn't work out that way, and God said, girl, you ain't running this, I am. I'm gonna stick the whitest white woman that I can find. I wish she was here. Unfortunately, she can't be here. She's a natural blonde with natural blue eyes, and when I tell you this sister gets it, she gets it. And I don't have to explain who I am. And in our Project SOAR meetings, we get to talk about things that arise in this nation. Black babies being killed, economic injustices, racism at the doctor's office, doctors talking to you like you crazy, doctors expecting you to be that thing, the strong black woman. What is the strong black woman? Well, phase 1 of Project SOAR tells us, one of our respondents said, being a strong black woman means that you do and you do and you do and you do and you keep on doing even when you don't have any more do left in you. Another respondent said, I was taught to not show fear and not show pain. And breast cancer I didn't think that breast cancer had a hold on me until the one day I was in the shower, the only place I'm alone. And I was able to cry out my fears. Black women are conditioned to take care of other people over self-care. On our last spoon of the day, y'all Google it, find out when you don't have enough spoons. On our last spoon of the day, if somebody is in need, a black woman's gonna go and do it. That's what this project is all about, looking at being a strong black woman and understanding that and how it informs the context of how we navigate a breast cancer journey. So I went to UCLA and I said, hey, I've got this idea. I want to do research to answer this question, why are black women still dying from breast cancer? And of course, y'all researchers out there, y'all know, y'all say that's not a scientific question. And I say, but it's a human reality, right? So I went and I said, I got an idea for doing these gatherings. And she goes, well, what's a gathering? I said, it's a 4-hour experience that celebrates the black woman the moment she walks in the door until the moment she walks out of the door. She said, I said, y'all call them focus groups. She said, she said, there's no way you're going to get women to sit for 4 hours. I said, you're right, the way you're thinking of doing it, but if you allow me to create a culturally competent experience that recognizes and acknowledges the black woman, and she doesn't have to be a superwoman, and we just get to serve her from the moment she comes in until the moment she leaves, I bet you we'll be on to something. And then I said, and you can't come. If we're going to create a black woman experience, you can't have a white woman sitting in the middle of the room as the leader of the research, and I'm just the black face. Oops, I say the things. But because she understood and because she gets it, she said, no problem. I'll go find us a black research grad student to represent UCLA. I said, great. And she can't ask the questions because she doesn't know anything about the community. And the community is still going to look at her as the ivory tower that's driving this ship. And I bet all of y'all that thought that we were in partnership with UCLA was like, oh yeah, UCLA got them one. No, 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 no. We invited UCLA. Okay, moving forward. How much time I got? Who's keeping me on time? Because I'm telling you, keep going. We got it. Okay, so then we had these 4-hour gatherings, and as we suspected, the women, y'all have heard the saying, you ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the out of here, right? That was the experience. This is after 5 hours. We had done cleanup, packed up the cars and everything. And we had to conduct these gatherings in homes. We didn't want those sterile clinical feelings, right? So this was in 2018. So pre-COVID, we could go in homes and people took off their shoes, they took off their wigs, they took off their prostheses, and we just got good and down and had some good sister-loving talk. And the middle of the gathering were the Q&A sessions, right? And so the questions, we ask all the questions that have been talked about here. We ask about your experience with racism, your experience with your physician, how's your family? But we wanted to get to the core of what makes up that woman because we care about who she is as a human being. And so that's when the tears came out. And that's when these women told their whole truths about that. So we covered 3 cities throughout California. We had a total of 37 participants, age range from 30 to 94, survivorship from 1 month to 20 years plus. And this was a patient-forward conversation. We talk all of these things about patients and patients forwards, and people are making decisions about patients and don't even know what a patient looks like. Highly problematic. Then from there, we received funding from the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, and that took us into phase 2. From the gatherings and the answers and responses from the gatherings, we created an online survey. It was extensive. We had to do videos and tell people to take breaks. We said, get you a cup of coffee or a tea or wine or whatever is your beverage of choice, get in your favorite chair and grab your comfy blanket and settle in. Because we really wanted to take the time to hear their voices, because our vision for this project, this is just information gathering, collecting, right? And our vision for this project is to really, really implement interventions that are spoken about from the patient's voice, from the patient's experiences and their perspectives, to help them better navigate a breast cancer journey, to close that gap. That is what this project is about. So we launched the project in 2020. You know, 2020 was crazy. Was anybody there? Ha, ha, ha. So trying to launch this thing, bots ate us up. We had tens of thousands of respondents. They ate us up. They ate up the instrument. We had to start from scratch, and we were still trying to get this survey completed by the end of 2020, which we did. We came in, we said, if we can just get 100 women nationwide to respond to this survey, we'll be in good order. So our total number was 218 national respondents, and we were excited. We talked about the importance of clinical trials, and someone's already said it. It's not that we are not smart enough to want to participate. It's not that we are not smart enough to understand the necessity of a clinical trial, but when you have the CDC, see, you was all in my stuff, and I showed Dr. Davis, I said, it's already here for my talking points. But when you have the CDC saying that we're gonna celebrate the suffering and sacrifice of the men of Tuskegee, what? That not only tells me that we are missing the mark, but if our top governmental agency is celebrating the suffering and silencing of the suffering that they caused, and they couch it in a way that we think it's a celebration, almost like Juneteenth being okay, never mind, come back to you, Denise. Come, well, I got 1 minute. So closing up, phase 3, we closed up that. Phase 3 is, like I said, is looking at collecting all of the data. Oh, and we'll be presenting on Friday our poster about the Strong Black Woman Schema. Phase 3 is we are now, we did empirical gatherings to specifically focus on clinical trials and looking at how we humanize that experience with folks. So phase 3, we are in process of gaining the funding to continue the research. And so finally, I just want to say that I acknowledge research. I am here as a result of research. I'm here in support of clinical trials. We've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go. Join us.